The 2000s McDonald's All-American team has a couple of future All-Stars and quite a few guys who flamed out relatively early. On top of that, several players from this class didn't make the roster, but went on to have NBA success. That includes one-time All-Star Jameer Nelson, the grind father Tony Allen, one-time All-Star Chris Kaman, and Hall of Famer Dwayne Wade. That said, those guys didn't make this list, so let's go ahead and jump into the 2000 class of McDonald's All-Americans and see what happened. Mario Austin. Austin grew up in Alabama, but decided to head to Mississippi State for college ball. Things started relatively slow, as Austin averaged 8 points and 4 boards a night, while starting just 5 of his 31 games. However, the 6'9" forward became an everyday starter in year 2, bumping those averages to 16 and 7.6. He kept his numbers up as a junior, but only played in 25 games due to injury. The two-time All-SEC player skipped his final season to jump into the 2003 draft. The Bulls picked him in the second round, but he decided to start his pro career in Russia with CSKA Moscow. Unfortunately, he picked up a season-ending injury and didn't play in a game. Once he got healthy, Austin got back onto the overseas pro circuit. He never played in the NBA, outside of a few summer league appearances, but made stops in Italy, Israel, Turkey, China, Spain, Puerto Rico, Ukraine, the Dominican Republic, Iran, Kuwait, Kosovo, and Chile. Austin won an Israeli Cup in 2007 and retired in 2015 after more than a decade playing overseas. He's since gone on to live a relatively normal life, though he's been popping up on a podcast here and there since the pandemic. Andre Barrett. Barrett played his college ball at Seton Hall. He never averaged fewer than 10 points and 5 assists during his 4 years, posting career averages of 15.3 points and 5.4 assists. The two-time All-Big East player wasn't selected in the 2004 draft, but signed with the Knicks soon after. While he did not play a regular season game in New York, Barrett was impressive enough during the 3 weeks of camp to get a contract with the Houston Rockets. In 27 games, he averaged 2.1 points and 1.6 assists before being waived and signing with the Magic. Over the next 3 years, Barrett moved from one 10-day contract to the next, appearing in 67 NBA games and averaging 3.3 points. After the 2008 season, he decided to head overseas, kicking off a decade-long career with stops in Spain, France, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, and Argentina, along with a few appearances in various US leagues. The Spain run was likely his best, winning the Spanish Super Cup with Barcelona in 2009. Soon after hanging him up, he started working with the NBA in basketball ops and youth development. In 2023, he moved into a role with the G League as a scout. As of 2024, he's working as a scout for the Brooklyn Nets. Brian Boddicker. Boddicker played his college ball at Texas. With the Longhorns, he was a 4-year role player off the bench, giving the team solid minutes and averaging 7.3 points and 4.2 rebounds. However, he was never able to consistently break into the starting lineup. Boddicker was not drafted, but played overseas for several years, mostly playing in Spain, Turkey, Germany, and France. He hung up his sneakers in 2015 and did some coaching at the high school level in Texas. As of 2025, Boddicker is working as an insurance broker in his home state. Andre Brown. After leading Leo Catholic to a few state titles, Brown signed with DePaul. He recorded a double-double in his first game with 18 points and 11 rebounds, though he wouldn't truly break out until his sophomore season. Brown led the team in scoring, rebounding, and block shots that year. While he dealt with injuries throughout his time at DePaul, the 6'9" big man finished his career with an All-CUSA nomination as a senior in 2004. He was not drafted and spent a few years playing in Italy, South Korea, and the D-League, while joining various NBA summer camp rosters. He was named a Korean All-Star in 2006. Brown eventually got an NBA shot in 2007 with the Supersonics, playing in 38 games and averaging 2.4 points. In 2008, he played in 33 games for the Grizz and 4 with the Bobcats in 2009, but never could establish himself as a consistent NBA player. By 2010, he was back overseas, playing through 2015 with stops in China, Puerto Rico, Syria, Greece, Australia, the Dominican Republic, Iran, and South Korea. As of 2025, he's working as a coach and trainer at the youth level. Taliek Brown. Brown left New York to play at UConn. With the Huskies, he was an instant starter, dropping 8 points, 5 assists, and nearly 2 steals per night during his freshman season. While he started nearly every game of his 4-year career, he was never able to take his game to the next level as a scorer. That said, he did average 6.3 points and 6.5 assists, alongside Ben Gordon and Emeka Okafor, to lead UConn to the title in 2004. Brown was not picked in that year's draft. Instead, he spent about 8 years playing overseas, with stops in Turkey, Croatia, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, and Canada. He made the Canadian All-Star team in 2012, but retired in 2013. He spent a few years out of the game before joining UConn as the Director of Player Development in 2019. In 2022, he joined Iona's staff as an assistant. After a year with the team, he joined St. John's as an assistant, where he is still working as of 2025. Travon Bryant. Bryant was born in California, but decided to head to Missouri for college ball. Things started slow, but he improved over all 4 seasons, becoming a double-digit scorer by his senior year. Still, the 6'9" forward's production was slightly disappointing given the high school hype, and he was not picked in the 2004 draft. He spent a decade playing overseas with stops in Greece, Italy, Germany, France, Ukraine, and Argentina. Bryant won league titles in Italy in 2006, Ukraine in 2011, and Germany in 2015. After hanging him up in 2015, he joined the Oklahoma City Blues staff in the G League for 2 seasons. He then spent 3 years as an assistant with the Nets before joining the Raptors G League staff in 2021. As of 2023, he's working as an assistant on the Cal women's basketball team at the collegiate level. Omar Cook. The 6'1" Cook went to St. John's for college ball, instantly showing out as one of the top point guards in the country. He led the nation in assists with 8.7, while adding 15.3 points and 2.3 steals. After that dominant performance, Cook jumped to the NBA, where the Orlando Magic picked him early in the 2nd round. He was quickly traded to the Nuggets, but didn't make the final roster, reportedly because of his poor shooting. Cook spent 3 years playing in the D-League before signing a few short contracts with the Trailblazers and Raptors in 2004 and 2005 respectively. He played in 22 NBA games, averaging 1.7 points and 2.1 assists. After the 2005 season, he started a long career playing overseas. Cook didn't retire until the 2022 season and accumulated a ton of awards, mostly as a top assist guy. He won the Euro Cup in 2007, the FIBA Champions League in 2020 and 2021, the Montenegrin League in 2016 and 2017, and the Belgian Cup in 2006. Cook was the assists leader in the Euro League in 2010 and 2012, the G League in 2002, the Belgian League in 2006, the Serbian League in 2008, the Spanish League in 2010, 2018, and 2019, the Lithuanian League in 2014, the Yugoslavian League in 2016, and the FIBA Champions League in 2018. He also won the Spanish League Defensive Player of the Year in 2011 and led the Lithuanian League in steals in 2014. Basically, he's the overseas version of Chris Paul. After retiring, he joined the Cavs G League staff as an assistant. After a season with that team, he joined the Cavs proper as an assistant, where he's still working as of 2025. Chris Duhon. Duhon joined a stacked Duke team in 2001 that featured previous McDonald's All-Americans Jay Williams, Shane Battier, Mike Dunleavy, Carlos Boozer, and Casey Sanders. That team ran to a title, and Duhon was a solid role player off the bench with 7.2 points, 4.5 assists, and 2 steals in 28 minutes a night. He kept improving over his next 3 years, peaking as a senior at 10 points, 6.1 assists, and 2.2 steals per game. Duhon became the all-time leader in steals and minutes played by the end of his Dookie career. The Bulls picked the 2-time All-ACC player in the second round of the 2004 draft. He spent 4 years with Chicago, largely coming off the bench as a sixth man to average 6.9 points and 4.5 assists a night. He helped the team win its first playoff series since the Michael Jordan era in 2007. In 2008, he signed with the Knicks for 2 years. He started nearly every game of the 2009 season, averaging 11.1 points and 7.2 assists. However, Duhon's numbers fell back the next year, and he signed with the Magic in 2011. Duhon spent 3 more years as a backup for Orlando and the Los Angeles Lakers before retiring in 2014. That year, he joined the Marshall staff as an assistant under Dan D'Antoni. However, he picked up a few arrests over the next few years and resigned in 2017. Duhon then spent some time at Illinois State and Bryant before becoming a head coach at the high school level in 2023, where he's still working as of 2025. Neil Fingleton. Fingleton moved to the United States during high school to play basketball at Holy Name in Massachusetts. The 7'7" youngster signed with North Carolina for college ball. He had to have back surgery and took a red shirt. He played in a single game with UNC before transferring to Holy Cross in 2002. He finished out his collegiate career and went undrafted in 2005. He spent a season in the ABA before playing for a few years in England and Spain, hanging him up after the 2007 season. Fingleton then started to use his immense size to his advantage as an entertainer. He got a start in 2 British documentaries about his height before moving into Hollywood. Fingleton appeared in 47 Ronin alongside Keanu Reeves and played Mag the Mighty in Game of Thrones. He also appeared in Jupiter Ascending, X-Men First Class, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Doctor Who. Sadly, he passed away in 2017 at just 36 years old. Alton Ford. Ford stayed in his hometown to play for the Houston Cougars. During his lone season of college ball, Ford averaged 10.8 points and 5.9 rebounds to make the CUSA All-Freshman squad. The Suns picked the 6'9" center in the second round of the 2001 draft. He spent 3 years in the NBA, playing 2 years in Phoenix and 1 in Houston, averaging 2.5 points and 1.7 rebounds in 73 career games. He then spent several years playing overseas, with stops in France, China, Poland, Bosnia, and the G League, before retiring in 2011. He spent the next few years taking care of his family, but sadly passed away in 2018 at 36 years old. Eddie Griffin. Griffin joined Barrett at Seton Hall for college. He was an instant star, averaging 17.8 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 4.4 blocks a game, en route to winning the National Freshman of the Year award from the Sporting News. However, his time was slightly marred after a January 2001 fight with teammate Ty Shine. Amid the team's turmoil, Griffin decided to jump into the 2001 draft. The Nets picked him 7th overall, with Griffin slightly dropping in part due to his perceived attitude issues. The Nets quickly traded him to the Rockets for a package that included Jason Collins and Richard Jefferson. He averaged 8.8 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks as a rookie. However, he developed an alcohol addiction, and it quickly spilled into his professional life in the form of missed practices and fights with his teammates. Griffin missed the entire 03-04 season in rehab. In 2005, he signed with the Timberwolves and played well enough off the bench to earn a 3-year deal. The next year, he was involved in a car crash. There were some interesting details about the wreck, but I'll let you look those up and keep this video relatively PG. Still, he played in 70 games that season with Minnesota, starting 27 of them, though his numbers took a hit as he continued to regress. He played in just 13 games in 2007 before being waived. Unfortunately, Griffin was involved in another car crash in 2007 that ended in his death at just 27 years old. Jerome Harper. Harper was originally committed to play for Cincinnati. However, the team revoked his scholarship after he was arrested for assault in his hometown. Bob Huggins' team was already under probation and didn't want to risk bringing him in. Harper spent 2 years playing at Indian Hills Community College, earning a scholarship to Iowa State. Unfortunately, Harper did not earn his GED in time to suit up and never played college ball. He did play a bit of semi-pro ball before turning himself into the police in connection with a 1999 murder. Sadly, he was again arrested for attempted murder in 2013 and has reportedly continued to be in trouble with the law as recently as 2018. Scott Hazelton. Hazelton started his college career at UConn. He did not get much playing time during his 3 years with the program, averaging 2.5 points while starting a single game. To his credit, he broke his foot twice, so it was more injuries than ability that forced him out of the lineup. He transferred to Rhode Island in 2003 and grew into a starter in 04-05. That season, he averaged 15.5 points and 7 rebounds to make the All-A-10 squad. He was not drafted and played for a few seasons overseas, most notably in Luxembourg and Sweden. Since then, Hazelton has become a longtime coach at the high school level and has done some work as a collegiate referee. Over the years, he's coached a few future NBA players like Noah Vonleh and Wenyen Gabriel. Rolando Howell. The 6'9" Howell played his college ball at South Carolina. No matter how much playing time he got, Howell was remarkably consistent across his 4-year career, averaging 9.5 points and 5.8 rebounds. During his final season, he was only able to suit up for 16 games due to a fractured wrist, which likely played a part in him going undrafted. Howell spent nearly a decade playing overseas, with stops in Italy, Taiwan, Spain, Portugal, Lebanon, Argentina, and Russia. After hanging him up in 2013, he did some work in sales. Sadly, he was involved in an accident in 2016 that broke his C5 vertebrae. A few months later, he passed away at only 34 years old due to complications from his paralysis. Jared Jeffries. Jeffries stayed in-state to play college ball at Indiana. With the Hoosiers, Jeffries averaged 13.8 points and 6.9 rebounds as a freshman to win Big Ten Rookie of the Year. The 6'11" forward upped those numbers to 15-8 as a sophomore, winning Big Ten Player of the Year and making the second-team All-American roster. Jeffries decided to jump to the 2002 draft, where the Wizards picked him 11th overall. He only played in 20 games as a rookie due to an ACL tear during an in-season practice. Over the next few years, Jeffries worked his way into the starting lineup, giving the team solid, if unspectacular, minutes during his 4 years. Jeffries signed with the Knicks in 2006. He spent 4 years with the team, though his most notable moment was likely picking up a 4-game suspension for his part in the 2006 Knicks-Nuggets brawl. That said, Jeffries was officially in his journeyman stage. He played through the 2013 season, spending time with the Rockets, Knicks, and Blazers, while rarely playing more than 20 minutes a night. He retired in 2013 and immediately joined the Nuggets staff as a scout. In 2016, he was promoted to Director of Player Personnel for Denver, and in 2017, he was named the president of Echo Fox, the esports organization founded by former pro NBA player Rick Fox. He's also done some acting over the years, and even appeared in a 2023 episode of The Price is Right, where he won a car that he couldn't fit in, so he gifted it to his daughter. Oh, and according to his Instagram, my man is really into fishing. Garner Meads. Meads went to BYU to play college ball, but didn't appear in a game until the 2004 season. However, even when he saw on-court action, Meads only averaged 4.2 points and 2.9 assists in 29 games. The next year, he bumped his averages to 4.4 points and 4.3 rebounds before injuries derailed his career. The 6'8 forward announced that he was ending his basketball career in 2005 after several abdominal tears. Unfortunately, Meads has largely become a footnote of history as the last All-American to sign with BYU until AJ Debonsa joined the team in 2025. Darius Miles. Miles decided to skip his collegiate years and jump straight to the NBA. He was originally scheduled to attend St. John's with Omar Cook, but the Clippers picked him 3rd overall in the 2000 draft. He averaged 9.4 points and 5.9 rebounds to make the first team All-Rookie squad on a bad Clippers team. He spent one more year with the Clippers before LA traded him to Cleveland for a package that included Andre Miller. He spent a year and a half with the Cavs, averaging around the same numbers as his LA days, but was traded to the Trailblazers in 2004. At that point, Miles started to deal with even more on and off-court issues. He reportedly had words, to put it lightly, with head coach Mo Cheeks in 05 and picked up a gnarly knee injury in 06 that caused him to miss the entire 07 and 08 seasons. That led to the Blazers waiving him to clear contract space after an independent doctor ruled that his injury might be career-ending. Fortunately for Miles, he was able to make a recovery and sign with the Grizzlies for the 2009 season. He played in 34 games before the team renounced his rights to save cap space. That would be his final NBA game. Miles also appeared in a few films during his playing days, with credits in The Perfect Score and National Lampoon's Van Wilder. In 2016, Miles filed for bankruptcy, but has been deep in the podcast game alongside former teammate Quentin Richardson with the Knuckleheads podcast as of 2019. He continues to work in that space as of 2025. Zach Randolph. Zebo was widely regarded as the best prospect in this class and signed with Michigan State for college ball. Before stepping on campus, he was the MVP of the McDonald's All-American game, solidifying his ranking. Under Tom Izzo, Randolph became a star Spartan alongside Jason Richardson and Charlie Bell. He averaged 10.8 points and 6.7 rebounds during his lone season as the team made the Final Four. Zebo jumped into the 2001 draft, where the Trailblazers picked him 19th overall. During his first 2 years, Randolph struggled to get consistent playing time behind guys like Rasheed Wallace and Shawn Kemp. However, when Sheed was traded in 2004, Zebo boosted his numbers to 20.1 points and 10.5 rebounds to win the Most Improved Player award. He continued to put up big numbers during his next 3 years with Portland, but was traded to New York for the 2008 season for a package that included Steve Francis and Channing Frye. Zebo kept playing well in New York, but the Knicks traded him to the Clippers after a season. He played in just 39 games with the Clips, picking up a suspension after punching Louis Admonson in the face, and he was traded to Memphis in the summer before the 2010 season. With the Grizz, Zebo went on a tear over the next 8 years, making 2 All-Star teams and 1 All-NBA team, while averaging 17 points and 10 rebounds as the muscle alongside Marc Gasol. He also had a few great playoff runs, though Memphis never got over the hump. In 2017, he decided to leave the Grizzlies and sign with Sacramento. He slowly fell out of the rotation as the game changed around him, and Zebo was out of the NBA after the 2019 season. In 2021, he became the first player in Memphis history to have his number retired. Since hanging him up, he's done some podcasting, but has mostly been enjoying his retirement. Darius Rice. Rice left Mississippi to play college ball at Miami. Over the next few years, the 6'10 big man boosted his scoring to nearly 19 a game as a junior. His averages fell slightly as a senior, but he still made his 3rd straight All-Big East squad. That performance was not enough to get him drafted, so Rice spent the next several years playing overseas with stops in Venezuela, Poland, China, the Philippines, Puerto Rico, Uruguay, Hungary, Japan, Israel, and Macedonia. He also did a few stints in the G League, most recently playing with the Texas Legends in 2013. Rice has since gone on to work as an assistant coach at Miami and Mississippi Valley. He's also done some work with ESPN Radio and is working as a high school coach as of 2025. Luke Ridnour. Ridnour was born in Idaho, but played his high school ball in Washington. He signed with the University of Oregon to play alongside Luke Jackson and Fred Jones. Ridnour kept improving during his 3 years on campus, peaking at 19.7 points and 6.6 assists in 03, en route to winning the Pac-10 Player of the Year award. He decided to leave school and enter the 2003 draft, where the Supersonics picked him 14th overall. During his 5 years in Seattle, Ridnour averaged 9.1 points and 5 assists to solidify himself as a steady hand at the point guard position. In 2008, he was traded to the Bucks in a deal that included Joe Smith and Desmond Mason. Over 2 seasons, he continued to play well. He decided to leave the team in 2010 and sign with the Timberwolves, where he'd average 11.7 points and 4.6 assists over 3 seasons. Minnesota then traded him back to Milwaukee, where he would become trade fodder over the next 2 years to end his career. In 2015, he was traded 4 times in 6 days, which ended in him being waived by the Raptors. He sat out the 2015 season and retired after it wrapped up. He's since been enjoying retired life and has been doing a lot of work in his community and local church. Scooter Sherrill. Sherrill signed to play with NC State for college. While things started slow, he grew into an everyday starter as a junior, averaging 10.5 points over his last 2 seasons. He went undrafted in the NBA and played overseas for a few years. He's largely been out of the public eye in the years since, though he remains a local legend, with the region's Player of the Year award being named after him. At one point, he even played a pickup game with President Barack Obama. DeShawn Stevenson. Stevenson had a rough upbringing. His father murdered his grandmother and died of cancer early in DeShawn's life. Still, he more than impressed on the basketball court, earning a scholarship to play for the Kansas Jayhawks. However, his irregular SAT scores caused him to jump straight to the NBA. The Jazz picked him 23rd overall in the 2000 draft. During his 4 seasons in Utah, he slowly grew into a double-digit scorer, averaging 11.4 points in 04 before the Jazz traded him to Orlando. He continued to play well for a few seasons before signing with the Wizards in 06. He enjoyed the best offensive stretch of his career with the Wiz, making himself something of a thorn in LeBron James's side during the heated Wiz-Cavs playoff series of the late 2000s. However, the most notable thing of this stretch probably happened in 2007, when a man was shot in his home after an argument. For whatever reason, not a ton of details have come out around the incident. Regardless, his play started to drop off in 2009, and the Wiz traded him to the Mavs in 2010. He helped the team win a title in 2011, but had moved into a journeyman role by that point, spending the last few years of his career hopping from team to team until retiring in 2013. Since then, he's been enjoying his retirement, though Papa Smurf recently hit the news cycle after people learned that he had installed an ATM in his kitchen during his playing days. Marcus Taylor. Taylor joined Zebo at Michigan State. The 6'3" guard averaged 7.4 points, backing up Charlie Bell as a freshman, but broke out the next year with Bell off to the NBA. He dropped 16.8 points, 5.3 assists, and 1.1 steals in 02 and decided to head to the 2002 draft. The Timberwolves picked him in the 2nd round, but he never played in the NBA. After doing a few summer league stints, Taylor spent several years playing overseas, with stops in France, Greece, Germany, and in lower domestic leagues. He retired in 2009 and started working in manufacturing and youth basketball camps. He's worked for a few major companies, including Kroger, but is working for a Michigan-based medical company as of 2025. Gerald Wallace. Crash went to Alabama for his lone season of college ball. He only started 2 games as a freshman, but put up 9.8 points, 6 boards, 1.5 assists, 1.2 steals, and 1 block a game. Wallace jumped to the 2001 draft, where the Kings picked him 25th overall. He quickly became known for his effort and versatility. Crash finished second in the dunk contest to previous McDonald's All-American Jason Richardson in 2002. However, he struggled to get PT with the Kings, playing behind Chris Webber and Peja Stojakovic. The Bobcats picked him in the 2004 expansion draft. Crash broke out in Charlotte, boosting his scoring to nearly 20 a night while finishing as a perennial Defensive Player of the Year vote-getter. He made the All-Star team in 2010 behind 18.2 points, 10 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1.1 blocks a night. Just a typical Gerald Wallace season that showed off his incredible versatility. Despite that, the Bobcats traded him to the Trailblazers midway through the following season. He continued to provide versatile minutes, but was traded to the Nets in 2012. Crash kept giving high-effort minutes for the Nets and Celtics through the 2015 season, though it's worth noting that he consistently dealt with injuries, partially due to his balls-to-the-wall style of play. The one-time All-Star retired after spending the 2015 season with Boston. As of 2024, Crash is working as a high school coach back in his home state of Alabama. And that wraps up the 2000 McDonald's All-American squad. I'll be back in a few weeks with the 2001 team, but if you have any ideas for future basketball videos you'd like to see, please share them below.